The special primary election for the County Council District 5 seat is less than a week away. CTV News is continuing our coverage to bring you exclusive interviews with each of those candidates.
And joining us in the studio today is candidate Shayla Adams-Stafford. Ms. Adams-Stafford, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So if elected, what do you think that you can bring to the table that will improve Prince George's County as a council member?
Yes, definitely. I think what I bring is my expertise as a business owner. One of the things that we hear from residents as we go from door to door is consistently that they want to see their property taxes lowered. Well, we'll do that by increasing our commercial tax base. And because I am a business owner, someone who runs a payroll every month, I know what business owners need to succeed. They need access to capital. We also need opportunities for people to move their businesses from their homes into actual retail locations. And we need participatory development that actually speaks to what the community wants, not just what a developer says or someone who doesn't even live here thinks should go here. And so that's what I think I can bring.
And having good schools is an economic engine for both businesses and homeowners. Yes. How would you like to make improvements to the Prince George's County school system?
Absolutely. So, I was recently on the school board, and the work that I did there was primarily around helping to develop and construct 14 new schools. As you know, many of our schools are over 50 years old, and so we need to fully fund our capital improvement budget, not shy away from the blueprint work. That's very important for us to ensure that we're abiding by that, but also thinking about how can we find some areas where we may have some inefficiencies. So, for example, while I was a school board member, I pushed for us to have an audit of our transportation program. We found out we had over 13 different school start times. We were able to, through that audit, find out that we ultimately only needed 3. And over time, when the results of that audit are fully implemented, it'll save the school system and the county over $70 million.
Even though you were a school board member, I noticed that on your website, your platform doesn't mention education as a top priority, but do you think that education is one of your top priorities if elected?
Oh, absolutely. Anyone who knows me knows that I've been an educator for my entire career, and also that's what my company does. We train educators across the country in culturally responsive practices. Education is a top priority, and I think that we can better use county services to meet some of those goals. For example, literacy. One of the things I did here in the county was develop our first Saturday Literacy Academy by partnering with Parks and Planning. That was at no cost to the school system. And while we're facing this budget deficit, we will need more partnerships like that in order to reach our educational goals.
The county is, as you said, facing a $170 million budget deficit. If elected, how would you go about addressing those issues without cutting those essential services?
Right. I don't think that we need to cut essential services or raise taxes. I think we need to go through the budget and find areas where we can save. And that's what I did as the chair of the Operating Budget and Fiscal Affairs Committee on the school board, which oversaw a $2.6 billion budget. And when we say looking for areas of efficiency, for example, as I mentioned with our transportation, we were wasting tons of money by not having an efficient system. Additionally, I called for a maintenance audit, having an opportunity to double back and see where are we failing with our maintenance work, where can we provide more quality control and oversight so that we are not, spending money frivolously. And also, we have a lot of change orders that come through the school system, and those change orders are in the millions of dollars. Having a closer eye on that from the county council level can possibly help us to cut down on costs and save us millions as well.
The dispute over land use of Hospital Hill between Bladensburg and Cheverly is a huge topic right now. Mm-hmm. What changes do you see or that the District 5 needs right now?
In terms of just development?
Yes.
Right. I think we need to diversify our zoning codes so that we can have more mixed-use facilities and areas. And as you think about development in that area, that's really going to be sort of the entry point into Prince George's County as it sits there right on 295. And so we need to have development that the people want. And that would mean really working with the community there to see what types of stores that they need, helping to get enough density there to have enough foot traffic so we attract the type of stores that we want, but also leveraging our EDC and going directly to those stores and those retailers and saying, hey, this is why you should come to our county and not waiting for them to come to us. We need to really be proactive. And as someone who is a business owner, I know how to go out and do that type of work.
You know, crime is a big issue here in Prince George's County. Many residents, homeowners, business people are concerned about crime. How would you push to improve crime in Prince George's?
Right. So I think that some of the work I did on the school board was about looking at some of the root causes of crime and the preventative measures that can be taken. I think that when we looked at some of the, for example, carjackings that were happening about a couple of years ago, which, you know, there are still those happening, but there was a prevalence of them. You know, I pulled together a convening of leaders from across the county to really think about who are committing these carjackings and why. And it really was coming down to several young people who are not getting their basic needs met. They're not connected to the basic resources and social services that they need. And so I would start off by information gathering, doing a needs assessment, finding out how can we support those young people that are committing those crimes, and looking to other neighboring jurisdictions on how they provide centers that can provide those resources and support to young people, and also helping students get access to high-wage, high-demand careers. You know, if you're working a low-wage job or don't have a job at all, you would be more susceptible to doing those types of activities. One thing I created on the board was the Blacks in Government program that helps students get jobs directly in the federal government.
Right now, affordable housing is a huge issue in the county. A townhome runs about $400,000. But what is your stance on affordable housing?
We need housing for all. We need housing for our first responders. We need housing for nurses, housing for teachers. And we can do that by also looking to neighboring jurisdictions on how they're leveraging voucher programs to provide that housing option for people that need it the most. Housing can come with, you know, not only a voucher, but perhaps maybe a utility bill subsidy or just a down payment on a first home. But we have to be more proactive about providing affordable housing and also thinking about our seniors. You know, as we are planning to see these cuts in Medicaid, you know, our seniors need to be housed, and many of them are on a fixed income. And thinking about how we as the county can develop housing ourselves. We don't always have to look outward. What capacity do we have within ourselves to develop housing units that can be affordable for everyone?
Now, if you were elected, how would you work to better health care services for Prince George's County residents?
I think that we need to lean more into community-based health resources and systems. While I was on the board, I passed $1 million amendment to revitalize our community-based, school-based health clinics. Montgomery County has 17, Baltimore has 20. We have 4, and they're not up and running right now. These are health centers that are tied to schools where anyone that has a child at that school, or maybe even a grandchild, can go get immunized, get proper health checks, their blood pressure checks. We need to expand those types of services, especially for members of our community that can't gain access to health care. Expanding community health services is something that would be a priority of mine.
Well, thank you, Ms. Adams-Stafford, for coming by.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And the special primary election will be held on March 4th.
Make sure you tune in tomorrow as we introduce candidate Fred Price, only on CTV News.